Life does not reward you according to activity. Neither does life reward you according to effort. I know you're making efforts. I know every day you wake up and you're rolling out activities. But life does not reward according to effort or activities. Life rewards according to your definitions, according to the interpretation of your mind. Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes about a little city that was besieged by an enemy, and the king, with all his efforts and strategy, could not surmount the pressure that was put on him, and it seemed like he was losing the city. But right in that same city was an old man, and by his wisdom he was able to help this king. He was able to save this little city from this powerful king that came out against him. But there was something very remarkable that was said in that story. He said nobody remembered him because he was a poor, wise man. Now, his wisdom saved the city. Nobody as much as remembered him because he was poor. In the same vein, a young lad called David, a teenager, about 17 years, there was a time in the history of Israel, Saul was the king, and Goliath of Gath, the champion of the Philistines, came out against Israel. The same way a great king came out against this little city. And here comes a young lad, David, 17 years old, came out to the camp. And Goliath is recorded, according to historians, to be about 9 feet tall. It took another man to hold his shield and his spear. And for 40 days, Goliath came out against the army of Israel to defy them. And even Saul, the king, was afraid of Goliath. And here come David, came to the field and asked,
"What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?"
What shall be given to the man who will destroy or defeat this guy?
The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family line from taxes in Israel.
And of course, having heard this, David went out against Goliath. Very fascinating story. David came against Goliath and brought him down. I will not give you the details of the story, but the point I'm trying to make here is David inquired, what shall be given to the man who brings down this enemy? David came out with intent. David came out to ask, what shall I be paid for this value I want to render? The old wise man came out, dispensed value, but did not live intently, did not price his value. When you go out in the marketplace, do you just dish out value? Do you just live by default, or you take our time to check what is commensurate to the value you're delivering? Now, a friend of mine, a business coach, would always teach that the pricing of your goods or services should not necessarily be based on how much or how long a time it took you to come up with that service. You should price your service based on the solution it is rendering. David knew he was rendering a huge solution for the king of Israel, and he was able to price accordingly. But the old man didn't, because he didn't live by intent, he lived by default. I want you to ask yourself, is your life, is your activity, or your services based on default or based on intent? Life does not reward you according to activity or effort. Life rewards you according to the interpretation of your mind and according to your definitions.